I'm going to tell you an audition story. I'm sure there's lots of performers in the crowd. For about a year of my life, I decided I was going to be a professional actor. 12 months, how long it lasted, about 10 years ago. I didn't look back from quitting. I feel good about that. If anyone's ever quit acting, I'm sure you feel good about that. Out there. But for those who have never done it, never done that sort of thing, we fill in some ground rules of performance. First of all, when you start acting, at least how I felt, I thought I was going to be a special snowflake sort of guy, you know? Like when you get into entertainment, people put your names on chairs or like marquees or something. It seems like a very you-centric energy, but when you start out, it's not like that in any way. In fact, when you start out, everyone is exactly like you. Like really exactly like you. Like you're not a person anymore, you become a type, right? So when you go to an audition, everybody at that audition looks and sounds exactly like me. Because they're looking for somebody who's like me for some reason. So you go there, they're all non-union gigs, so they're all new actors, and there's a room full of 50 guys, they're all white, 19 to 25, tallish, brown hair, beardy, glasses, look they could teach introductory to English literature, sort of thing. Every now and then they send you over for like a beer ad, and you're like, I shouldn't be here, and then you get there, and they're like, you shouldn't be here, you should be teaching English literature, and you don't get that job. So the non-union ones are the not-so-good ones. Usually they pay less, and one time I went out for a gig that wasn't actually a commercial at all. I booked it and it turned out to be a job for the Royal Ontario Museum, and I had to wear a toga and wander through Yorkville handing out coupons and pretending like I had fallen out of time. And at one point in the afternoon, Margaret Atwood came up to me and said, "You're too tall to be a Roman." And then I walked away. So they're not as good. You can't complain to HR about that one. The non-union thing also means that you're very new. There's union and non-union, so the union people are good. You're not as good, for obvious reasons, perhaps. The first union gig, though, or audition that I ever went to, which means you've done a bunch of these, we're gonna let you try out for the big leagues of sorts, was for a new product called All Bran Bar Bites. Now, I don't even remember this, it was some time ago, but All Bran realized that they could smash the All Bran goo into like a sheet and sell those as bars. And then someone else at Kellogg's were like, we should sell those bars as not bars. We should sell them as tiny little pieces and put them into a bag. So there's All Bran and All Bran bars and All Bran bar bites. And there might have been something after that, I don't know. Quit the business. So when I was, I gotta go to this audition, go to this thing. I almost didn't make it, by the way. And I really showed my greenness, I think, on that day. I was biking out to the entire wrong part of town before I realized I was going in the wrong direction. I was a half hour late. On the way to the real place, it started raining, and I got hit by the mirror of a cube van driving down the street. Still showed up, though. You can't not show up. It's union, guys. It's a big deal. So you show up. I go into the room, it's just me, there's no 50 other guys, okay? I was really excited for this because not only is it a union thing, if you get it, it pays more money, you get a credit to get into the union, and I thought I was gonna get to eat some All Bran Bar Bites. And again, I was like, well, I'm not special in my job, but maybe I can sort of be special to my friends, like maybe we'll be watching the commercial in a couple of weeks, whether I'm in it or not, it doesn't matter, but we're watching it, and I could say, I was one of the first civilians to eat one of those All Bran Bar Bites. And they'd be like, oh, wow. And I'd be like, yeah. So I'm there. There's no All Bran Bar Bites. It's just me and one guy, sort of like a surfer dude cameraman, who's staring out the window like he's watching a bag in American Beauty. And he's not paying attention to me. And I say, hello? And he's like, oh, God, there's a person. And even though people come in like minute after minute to do this. Also in the room, there's a kiddie pool filled with about a half-inch of water. I don't remember these ads, these All Bran Bar ads. They were on for a while. They did them with the bars as well as the bites, where someone would eat it in their commercial, and they would go, these All Bran bars are pretty good. And some guy next to them would go, and do a spit take. And that was the whole ad. So they were doing that for the bites, and so the guy says, all I want you to do is take a cup of water, drink some water, spit it into the kiddie pool. And I was like, that's it? I'm like, that's it, brah. So, spit, it's done. It took like 10 seconds. These union gigs are fucking awesome. I was in and I was out. No All Bran Bar Bites. But that's okay. It's okay. I felt good about the whole experience. My agent calls 3 hours later. He goes, Brian, you booked the callback. Almost in protest, I say, that's ridiculous. I didn't do anything. I could not have displayed no talent to warrant the callback. He said, well, whatever you did, go back tomorrow and do it again. All right. So I show up the next day. Maybe today we're going to get some all-brain bar bites. Maybe today. So I show up. This is clearly a bigger deal. Now there are people I sort of recognize, like people you see in Canadian commercials over and over again. Like the toothbrush guy from like 12 years ago. Remember the Listerine guy? Anyway, so they're there. You can see these people. It's a deal. This time you're going in with a partner. I'm going in with a woman who's very beautiful, wearing almost like a gown, like a white dress. And I feel like a child standing next to her. And we go in. The room, it was small to begin with, is now, everyone is here now. Everyone has come for this thing. Before, just the camera guy. Now, camera guy is there, but he's brought like 20 people. There's like 3 marketing guys from Kellogg's and their assistants, and then there's like an ad team of something, and then there's like a casting team and their assistants. They're all squished in to the back of this room, and then me and Sarah come in. And the guy in charge, for some reason, is the Kellogg's guy, not any of the casting people, just the Kellogg's guy. And he's like 40-ish, sort of balding, and he says things like, you do it right now. You know, everything he says means you do it or you're fired, sort of feeling. Even though you haven't been hired yet, but you could be fired immediately. And he says, all right, guys, so Brian, how about you do the line first, and Sarah, you do the spit take. Now, I should mention that throughout my history of auditioning, I keep getting the same note from people, almost regardless of what I'm auditioning for. I do something, I do the line, you're one line, you only get one shitty-ass line, and you do your line, and then inevitably a casting director will say, Brian, that was good, but can you bring it down a little bit? Which doesn't make sense because the line has an exclamation point on it. So no, I'm not gonna bring it down. Would you not put the fucking... Sometimes there's like 3 or 4 in a row, and I'm like, I'm here! And I was like, can you bring it down? I'm like, no, it's 4 now. So the all-brand thing, I'm like, that's a surprise, right? You think they're not gonna be good. You've heard of all-brand bar bites, you think, that sounds terrible, I'm not gonna like those. And then someone hands you one, and you eat one, you go, huh, these all-brand bar bites are pretty good. Right? So this time there's a real bag of all-brand bar bites, and I'm excited, and he hands it to me. And I take one, he says, go ahead, and I eat it. It tastes like shit, by the way. It's like blueberry simulated cardboard, but you gotta do your job, right? So I'm like, huh, these all-brand bar bites are pretty good. And then she goes, and he goes, good, cut, Brian, can you bring it down a little bit? I was honestly embarrassed, because I've been doing this for months at this point. This is the end of the year. And I keep getting this thing. I can't talk without gesticulating. I can't speak at reasonable levels. I keep getting this, like, bring it down, which to me means you're doing a bad job. You're not good at this. And I keep on getting it. So in the moment, I was honestly embarrassed. And there was all these people, and it's a union thing, and I want to do a good job. And in that moment, I thought, I gotta turn this energy somewhere. I feel like I'm being attacked by the guy. And I have to take this energy and turn it. I need to make a joke here. I need to move it somewhere else. So he says, Brian, can you bring it down? And I say, why? Are they not that good? And he goes, what? And I say, like I'm in control, forget about it, let's move on. And he goes with it. He's like, okay. Like I'm directing him now. And he's like, okay. And so he's, all right, we'll switch it up, huh? You know, Sarah, you do the line, and Brian, you do the spit take. The audition is still going. He hasn't told me to leave the room, which means there's a chance. It means I gotta save it somehow. All I have left is this spit take. So I give the bag to Sarah, and I get this little cup of water. She puts it in her mouth. Like an expert says, oh, the all-brand bar bites are really good. And I take a drink, and I go, people recoil? The asshole guy that I've offended shields his leather briefcase with his body like it's worth $1,000. People that like have notes and shit, I swear to God, are like trying to get to the back of the room. It's SeaWorld, there are only front row seats. When the mist clears and it falls to the ground, all the assistants of everybody, who are all young, pretty girls, are laughing. But I think they're laughing with me. I think they're honestly impressed. And the Kellogg's guy says, "Thank you," in a way that means, "Get out." And I leave. I didn't look at Sarah. I'm assuming she didn't get the job either. I'm assuming I ruined her chances equally. I got to taste those all-brown bar bites. Those were shit. I don't remember those on the shelves recently, so I think those are gone. At the time, I was really embarrassed for doing it wrong or being too big or not saying the correct thing and then spitting on everybody. But now, sort of when I think back, I think, well, I don't know what any of the people in that room are doing this day, you know, if they're still in the business. But I bet you I made an impression. I bet you they remember me now. And that's all I wanted in the first place, right? Thanks.